Hi everyone, this is Jim. Today I wanted to start out talking about Sente. Sente is a Japanese term and it means something like the initiative. And like the initiative in chess, it's something that's pretty valuable. And so let's give an example of the initiative. Let's see. Let's place a few moves here. Say black has placed a stone here and white's placed a stone here, and then black decides to approach. This is the knight's move away, the low approach. And this is a common joseki. White can respond. This is one way to respond with just stepping back here. And then black can slide in here trying to grab the corner. White can block. And then black will drop back to this square. And that completes the joseki. And you might wonder why white would allow this kind of thing. It seems like black got a little more space. If you look at the size of this area versus the size of this area, black got a little share of the corner here, stealing property that white had claimed. But at the end of this joseki, black played the last move, and so now it's white's move. And there's no threat here that white needs to respond to. If black makes further moves in the corner, white can block them. So white does not immediately need to respond, and white has Sente. White can grab more space over here, or white can attack over here. White can try and split these groups. So that's the value of Sente, and so white will choose a joseki like this, even though it gives up a little bit of space just to get the Sente and hope to get something back with that extra move. Now, if you listen to Haley's videos when she's talking about her games, one of the most frequent questions she asks herself as she's thinking aloud is that Sente? So that's the same way a chess player would ask himself after his opponent's move, is that a threat, or what is the threat? And she's just pausing to look and see if she needs to respond to that, or if she can play where she wants to. Sente and the opposite of Sente is Gote. So if your opponent is making threats and you have to respond to them, then your opponent has Sente and you have Gote. But what happens often in Go is that after a few moves, you get a few moves that you can play in Sente with threats, and then you kind of run out of threats, and then it shifts. You just have to play some other move, and it's no longer so threatening, and your opponent has the opportunity either to respond to your last move or to play somewhere else. So let's go back and give one more example. When I was talking about the faulty hinge, let's see, I guess I want white to be one step ahead here. Okay, so black is building a wall, and white is allowing this, and then at some point white decides to put a stop to it. And then I was talking about how black could maximize the amount of space he gets by playing here, and then when white blocks, playing down here. And this gives the most amount of space. But this also gives white a move that white can play in Sente. White can play at k1 here, and now this group is in danger of being captured. If white gets in this move h2, there's no way to save that group of two stones, and it'll also lead to an invasion of this whole area that black thought that he owned. So black has to play at h2 whenever white plays at k1 there. And now it's white's turn again. So white got to play that move in Sente, and then afterwards white still has the move here and can play somewhere else and attack at some other point. So that has a certain value, and what you will see in this case, after white plays here, often, and I've gotten in the habit of doing this now too, instead of playing down at j1 here and just sealing off that area, play at h2. And this has a trade-off. And let's take a look at the trade-off. Later on in the game, imagine there have been some more moves played, and then lots of things have happened, and we get into the end game, and now white is trying to maximize every last ounce of territory to try and win the game. White can play in here at j1 and try and grab some space, and then black can block. But when black blocks, now this stone is under threat, and white has to block in turn. White has to play at k1 and prevent black from grabbing that stone. And now black has Sente. So with this move, black can play somewhere else and maybe grab some territory. So let's think about this. If you look at this configuration versus the previous one, black has one less space, because in the previous configuration the stones were like this. They went H3, H2, J2, J1, and after white had played here and forced the move to H2. So black had one extra space of territory here at H1 compared to this, but white had Sente. And so this is the way where black plays it. I guess, yeah, let's go ahead and put that on the board. See, in this is the extra square of territory that black got, but he gave up he gave up a move to white to allow that to happen. So white had one stone that white could play anywhere, and if that move is worth more than 1 point of territory, then that was a bad deal for black. So early on in the game, when you're not sure where you're going to and when you're going to use that extra move, but you might like to have it in reserve, it's a good idea to play this here and allow white to later on in the game creep in and play this move, gain an extra space and territory, and then you have Sente, and you can hopefully play a move that is worth more than that 1 point. Okay, so that's a little bit about Sente, and Gote, as I also mentioned, that's the opposite. When your opponent has Sente, you have Gote. Okay, let's see if we can get a game here. My rating has been floating around 20Q lately. I got up to 18Q for a while. I think I played a few games at that level. But I think players at that level are really stronger than me. That's my experience so far. So I think 20Q is more accurate, a more accurate reflection of my rating. I have noticed some anomalies in the ratings where sometimes I'll play a person who has kind of a low rating, a worse rating than me, and then they play really strong. And that's happened more than once. And one time I asked the guy what was up with that, because he was playing really strong, and he was just someone who had moved over recently from another server. He played previously on KGS, and so he was just working his rating up. In fact, he had a perfect record so far; he hadn't lost a game. So eventually, those people will get sorted into their proper rating category. But if you ever get crushed, here we have a rating. If you ever get crushed by someone and you don't understand why based on the rating, that could be what's happening. Okay, so I'm going back to playing at the star points. I was playing at the 3 points for a while, but I guess I've decided that wasn't such a great idea. This is interesting. He's playing very, very aggressively here with the stone at E4. I mean, it's away from the center and towards my stone. I can come in behind it here. Let's try that. I mean, it leaves a gap, and so you have to wonder why why there, is there a way to punish that, I guess. It's probably a legitimate move, but anyway, let's try it. Okay, and he grabbed the other corner. So I'm going to approach this corner. I don't want to give up that corner without a fight. So I'm kind of going for this L-shaped area of the board over here. And, he didn't respond to that. So let's go ahead and step in here. He is attacking over here. Okay, let's play here first. Change my mind. I'm going to try and save this corner and then go after this corner later. And at some point, maybe I could play at a square like G10 to try and disrupt or reduce his territory over here as well. It's always possible when a person plays at the 4-4 point, like my 4-4 point here, black can always play at the 3-3 point and get a small territory over here, which may not seem like a big deal, and maybe it isn't. I mean, it only gets a couple points of territory, but what it does do is it steals a bunch of territory from white, so that's a useful invasion to keep in mind if you're running out of ideas and you see a 4-4 corner like that. I'm going to just block here at C3 so that he can't cut this group, and I think this group will live in the corner. It's not a bad amount of space. I got a fair amount of space in that corner. And I don't want to let him build too large of a wall, so I'm going to jump out. He can step in here to f3, right, but I can block here and keep him from just continuing to build along this line. And I believe this is enough stones here to make a living space in the corner. We will see. I've been wrong before about things like that. But yeah, and he's going to try and seal me off to minimize the amount of space I get over here. That's logical. And I wanted to block to make sure that I do have enough space to live. Now, do I have to respond to that? This is one of those questions that, say, if he comes into a4, I can block at a3, and he can't play to b3 because I'll stop him at b2 and capture that stone. So I don't have to respond to that. So I have Sente now, and I'm going to use that to attack over here. I think one thing I do wrong in my games is not recognizing when I have Sente often enough, responding too quickly to my opponent's apparent threats, and not breaking away and doing stuff on my own. So if I can get this corner over here, he doesn't seem to defend the corners. He gets this kind of L-shaped area here, which is maybe equivalent to what I'm getting. So maybe the territories are about even here. And then I'll have to invade into the center to try and reduce his territory here. So what's a good way to take space here? So I think this stone here, maybe I will, well, wait, first I'll respond to that. I was thinking maybe I could jump out towards the center from this stone, or from this stone, or maybe, you can just place a stone in the center. There's nothing really wrong with that, although maybe it gets isolated there. And I have stones pretty nearby. And like I said, there's always this 3-3 invasion I can do over here at C11 if I want to reduce his territory in this area. And he can do a similar one here at L3. Okay, PM Raula. Oh, if you want to check and see how many games someone has played, you can click on their name and hit the info here. And then, so he's played just 20 games, and his rating has been improving. So he's someone who's come over and he's been improving steadily. So he might be underrated still. That's an example of someone who has a low rating, a worse rating than mine, but he might actually be a stronger player than it shows. He seems to be playing reasonably well. And he's thinking about his moves, more so than I am, so maybe I should pause and think. Just like in chess, it helps to think. So what happens if I kind of come around this stone? That's making a threat, so I think this is a move that's played in Sente. He responds here at K9, I'm expecting. And then I can play at J9 to try and threaten that whole group, and then he has to connect at J10. And that'll give me a couple stones here and some more center influence, so maybe then I can step out to G7 here in the center. Oh, he's taking his time to think about this one. The other option is maybe he just gives up that stone or counterattacks these stones over here. Maybe a cut at L7 is interesting. It is kind of a threat. I do want to protect these stones here and maybe play M8 at some point. Well, let's see what he comes up with. Played there. What does that mean? He's allowing me to capture the stone. And at the same time, I'm threatening this group here, so he has to fill in. But this is a ko, so after he fills in, unless I fill in, he's going to, yeah, so he fills in there, and now he can capture back this stone anytime, unless I fill in here. So I guess I will, rather than leaving that ko situation. And I still think these stones over here. Okay, so he's doing something interesting here. It may be possible that this group dies in the corner if he correctly invades. So let's see, what is the idea here? If I block at M11, so he can't cut the corner there, and I've got a pretty solid shape. He can come in at K13, and he can also try and come in on this side, but I will try and cut him off there. So I just need to make sure I get two eyes somehow in this shape. Well, I can just connect on the outside here too with M8. That would be connecting to some open space over here. He can try to cut at M8. I would go to M7, so I guess that doesn't work because I would round up that stone. He goes M8, I go M7, he extends to N8, I play N7, and if he runs in, I cut him off and capture that group. Okay, well, it's good that he's thinking, but on the other hand, he's thinking maybe a little too long. We're still not that far into the game. That looks like a good move to me, though, because that's cutting into my territory. And see, I wanted to strengthen this stone over here and then jump into the center or towards that. You know, this is one of my maybe one of my weaknesses. Maybe I don't. Maybe I should jump in sooner. He's got all this space that I haven't challenged, and maybe he can build up something over here. Okay, well now I'm getting a stone. I'm sort of threatening to separate these two stones, so I guess he will connect there. Okay. And then I need to make sure my stones stay connected too, so I guess I need to play that. And I'm hoping this cut doesn't work. If he cuts at J3, yeah, he does that. Yeah, like I said, this guy's probably pretty good. Okay, now I have to calculate. If I go K3, he steps forward. If he tries to cut in here, I can capture it. So K3, J2, K2, then he comes over here. I block here. And he's got a group with 2 spaces, and I have a group with 3 spaces. I think I'm okay here. Three liberties versus 2 liberties. So now he's calculating to see if that stone will live or die. So J2, K2, H2, G2. And then he has 2 liberties. Liberties are H1 and J1. And these stones on the outside and these stones over here have 3 liberties. I have liberties here, here, and here. I could then cut here. It is a little bit tricky. Maybe he can, combine attacks against these stones with the idea of cutting here and attacking this corner too. Okay, so he went there instead. I want to make sure this stone lives. So this stone is dead. I guess he's given up on it, and if I waste a move capturing it, then I can get into trouble. I needed to try and keep something going in the center. Like I said, I still haven't done anything about all this space over here. that I really need to challenge. And yeah, he's trying to be sneaky here, challenge my stones. Well, it's not sneaky. He's just building a wall there. It's good. He's cutting my stones apart, cutting them off from each other, which weakens them. And so I need to connect here. Like I said, I didn't want those cut off. I can try and come in here. I think, yeah, this invasion here is a little annoying. If he goes to L, six, and I stop it. He can go here, I stop it, and then he can cut this way, and I have to connect. Yeah, it's messy. He's eating into my territory, and this is a pretty solid group of stones here. So if I play here, he can just play there. That's solid. If I play here, he can cut it off. So I guess, I would like to move out more than one stone at a time, but I have to move in a way that is safe. If he just cuts me off, and then it's kind of a futile move. Like that, he just keeps cutting me off. So here, that's not going anywhere. Here, that's not going anywhere. Now, there's two threats going on here. This group only has two liberties, one here and one here. If I place a stone there, he can capture it. Okay, so he just saved that group. So I'll play here. That threatens this group of stones. So I get to play that move in Sente. He has to respond, I think, at F5. You should move a little quicker on moves like that are forced. Okay, so he's used up all the 10 minutes, and he has 3 30-second overtimes. That gives you 30 seconds per move. Every move you get 30 seconds. He didn't respond. Okay, let's capture that group. It's interesting. That might have been a trade-off, right? He's trying to capture things here. No, he must have just missed it. Because this group can't be... These stones... I could have captured them, I thought. So, well, maybe that's why he plays slowly. It's because he knows he's prone to making little mistakes like that. You really have to keep an eye on every one of your groups and make sure that it has either some eyes or open space, enough liberties that it can't easily be captured. Okay, so I wanted to, he's still got a lot of space out here. Let's, okay, these groups are all alive, I think. I don't see how he can do much with that. He can do something with that, but I think the bigger thing for me is to try and invade over here and reduce some of his territory. So about the overtime, you get 30 seconds per move, and if you ever use more than 30 seconds, then that uses up one of your overtimes, and then you roll over to the second overtime. Then if you do that 3 times, then you run out of time. But you get 3 opportunities to use more than 30 seconds per move. And you still get at least 30 seconds per move. So he's got a lot of space over here. Let's see. He should block me here and keep me from... I have a lot of space over here, though. I think this is a game that's winning for me. Since I captured that group, it's probably winning now. So my space is this L-shaped here, and then he's got this region here. Okay, I'm just going to get a solid little group over in the corner. Make sure it lives. And I'll come back and make sure this group lives over here at some point too. And yeah, he's playing well. I mean, that's keeping the size of my group limited with kind of a minimum number of stones. He seems to be pretty efficient with his use of stones there. And this is a move that gives up Sente. He can play here at A8, attacking that stone. I have to play back at A10, and then he has Sente. So maybe that wasn't such a smart move. Maybe the smarter move is just to play somewhere else. I could have extended over here. Yeah, so he's going to come inside again. He's pretty sneaky that way. Yeah, that's good. Okay, that was not good. That stone just gets captured, I think. And now there's enough eyes in this group to live. This stone can't go anywhere, and I can take it at any time. So I should not play any more moves over here. Let's see, he can't move there, can't move there. If he moves there, I capture it. If he moves there, I capture it. So yeah, he can't play any more moves in that area. So I should go play somewhere else, like over here. Or over here. Make sure these stones don't live. Seal off this corner. Okay, so he just resigned. Yeah, so that was a good game. I think I'll respond. We will. Well, that's it for this one. I was going to say, it looks like I just have more territory than him. It's too bad. I think more players should play it out to the end. Sometimes people get frustrated when I play it all the way out to the end, but I think that's a good idea, because then you see the actual counting at the end. Even if you're losing, see how many points you can get. I don't think, if you're a learning player, I think it's impolite. If you're like an advanced player, it's considered a little bit impolite to keep on playing in a position that's obviously lost, because it's kind of a waste of time. But if you're learning the game, I think you should play it out so you get a feel for the actual counting at the end and how many points you get. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave any comments you have, and I will see you again soon. Bye.